disorganized, don't believe it's any bad. Well, as he said, I am the unknown comic. I guess you could say comedy is my bag. I always knew I wanted to be a comedian growing up. I told all my friends and all, I said, when I grow up, I'm going to be a comedian. They all laughed at me. Well, now nobody laughs. But anyway, I flew in from Las Vegas to Norfolk, and I decided I would save some money. I mean, when you got a career like me, you got to save all the money you can, you know. So I got Bubba Airlines. I booked a flight, and I was flying in from Las Vegas, and it was a rough flight. And I finally figured out, I said, you know, Bubba didn't train his pilots too good. So when he got to Norfolk, he bumped that thing 4 or 5 times on the runway landing. And I said, come on, this is terrible. So when I got off the plane, I asked that pilot, I said, look, did we land or did we get shot down? Well, I found out that dolphins are the most intelligent animal there is. Actually, after 2 weeks in captivity, they can train people to throw fish to them. Well, anyway, I got a story about a man out in the country, too. This man took his family out riding in the country. In fact, I was afraid you had stolen my joke. But then I realized nobody steals my jokes. But anyway, this family was out riding in the country one day. And all of a sudden, this gust of wind or something just flew right by him so fast. And the guy said, baby, you know what that was? She said, no, it was going so fast, I'm not sure what it was. Just a bunch of dust, you know. So they rode on a little bit farther. And the next thing you know, here comes another one, boom, flying by him so fast. He said, I've never seen anything like it. He said, there's a house up there. I'm going to stop and ask the man that he knows what kind of creature that is or whatever around here. So he stopped and he knocked on the door. The farmer came to the door. He said, can I help you, sir? He said, well, I don't really know how to tell you this, but we've seen something that just shoots right by you so fast you can't even tell what it is. You just see a cloud of dust. And the farmer started laughing. He said, well, you know, I got 8 kids, so what I decided to do was breed 8-legged chickens. So every one of my kids can have a chicken leg, you know, when we eat supper. So that was probably one of them 8-legged chickens. The guy said, well, what do they taste like? Farmer said, I don't know. I haven't been able to catch one. Well, speaking of birds, y'all know the early bird catches the worm, right? But it's always the second mouse that gets the cheese. And you know, they have recently discovered that 6 out of 7 dwarfs are not happy. Well, anyway, about a year or so ago, my wife and I decided we'd save some money. So we went out and bought these really expensive, energy-efficient windows. We put them in our house, you know, replacement windows. So last week, this guy from the window company called me. He says, sir, you hadn't paid anything on those windows we put in for you. I said, your salesman told me they pay for themselves in a year. Well, do y'all know what you call a boomerang that don't come back? A stick. Yeah. Well, I decided I would try some water polo. Only problem was my poor horse drowned. Y'all know that a bank is a place that'll lend you money if you can prove to them you don't need it. Well, one news story I got that y'all hadn't heard, and any blondes in the audience, don't pay no attention to me. I use blonde, but it could be any woman. I just say blonde, you know. Oh my gosh. What color am I? Well, I've been eating a lot of bananas lately, but I haven't seen any effect. But anyway, it's this little plant, you know, factory, and this blonde woman works in the office there. So one day she went out in the warehouse, and she looked up, and there was one of the guys that worked out there hanging from an I-beam up in the ceiling. So she says, what in the world are you doing up there? He said, well, I asked the boss for some time off, and he wouldn't let me off. So what I decided to do, I'd come up here and act crazy, and he'd come in and think I've been working too hard and give me a break, give me some time off. She said, well, that'll never work. She said, you better get out. She said, uh-oh, here comes the boss. So the boss come in and looks up at the guy. He says, what are you doing? The guy says, I'm a light bulb, I'm a light bulb, I'm a light bulb. The boss said, man, you've been working too hard. You need a break. Why don't you come on down and take a few days off? So he was coming down. He kind of winked at the blonde, said, I told you. So he got his stuff and started out the door. So the mom grabbed her stuff and started out the door. The boss said, "Where in the world are you going?" She said, "Well, you don't expect me to work in the dark, do you?" Well, you know, a couple of things happened around my house lately I hadn't figured out. All of a sudden, my washing machine won't pump water out. And even more importantly, I wonder what happened to my hamster. Do y'all know how many opticians it takes to screw in a light bulb? Is it 1 or 2? 1 or 2? 2 or 1?
That's funny.
Well, last summer, my lawnmower broke down. It didn't really bother me a whole lot, but my wife kept getting on me to get that lawnmower fixed. Well, I always had something more important to do, you know, go fishing, go to a ball game or something, so I never could get my lawnmower fixed. So I guess she wanted to prove a point. One day when I got home, she was out there sitting on the front lawn with a pair of scissors cutting the grass. Kind of put me in shock for a second, then I said, well, okay. So I went in the house and got a toothbrush. I came back, I said, look, when you get through, would you mind sweeping off the driveway? Well, look, the doctor said I'll walk again, but I'll always have a limp. Well, that's really about all I got for y'all tonight. I had a couple more stories, but I got a message this afternoon to keep it kind of short, so I'm not going to go into that. One piece of advice, though. Don't ever, under any circumstances, take a laxative or a sleeping pill on the same night. All right, well now I need some help from the audience. I'm going to demonstrate to y'all some mental telepathy. So somebody like to volunteer to come up and help me? How about this gentleman right here? Yeah.
Grace.
Here, you better keep come up here without wearing this. What's your name, sir?
PT.
PT. Nice to meet you, PT. My full name's unknown. All right. What I want to do, PT, I want you to think of a number. Think of a number between 1 and 1 million. I need you to really concentrate real hard, and through mental telepathy, I'm going to write down the number that you got in your mind. So go ahead and think of a number. All right, you got a number?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Think real hard. Having a little bit of trouble with coming through this bag. You got it?
I got it.
Okay. Is your number 763,241?
No.
He said no! He said no! Appreciate you coming, y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got another